This episode is brought to you by Audible.com. In order to get a free audiobook trial, go to audibletrial.com/bonfireside chat. For listeners of this podcast, I would recommend, a transcription of Bonfireside Chat episode 21 by Neil deGrasse Tyson, A Strom of Storms, How One Thunderous Conservative Senator Annoyed a Nation by Corner Halvesies, or Mokoto Mo Problems by Setsuki. That address again is audibletrial.com/bonfireside chat.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
And my name is Jake Booth.
And you're listening to Bonfireside Chat. It is an undead favorite.
And this week we are talking about World 4-1 of Demon's Souls, beginning the Shrine of Storms on this most appropriate of holidays, at least when we're recording it, Halloween, talking about an area full of spooky, scary skeletons, And as you heard, we are joined by Jake Booth, also known as Video Game Talking Head on YouTube. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
I make Demon's Souls lore videos on YouTube, and I guess I was one of the first kind of people to do it before you guys kind of copied me and started doing your own thing. And now there are many people doing a much better job of it than I am. But, it's... That's what I do. You can find me on YouTube at Video Game Talking Head. The longest name on YouTube.
Do you have a certificate?
Yeah. we referenced you in the last episode because one of the most recent videos you did was on Latria.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you joke about people kind of copying off it and doing better. But one thing I found is that I can watch 3 different lore videos on the same subject in the Souls series and get different information from each one. Different people picking up on certain nuances or having different kind of competing theories.
Well, one of the big things for Demon's Souls, the only real big lore resource it had for years was this Game FAQs post that 12 people collaborated on that got passed around a lot, and I've been going through that to kind of reference it, and it's amazing how much you disagree with in a game like this. So yeah, everything you get, you take out something different from in these games.
No, which is part of why they are so amazing. And I would definitely, anybody who's listening, seek out the Video Game Talking Head YouTube Demon's Souls lore videos because they're very good.
I imagine there will be a link in the show notes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
So what did we do last time, Cole?
Well, last time we ascended the Tower of Latria and laid waste to the Foul King atop it. And now we set our sights on the Shrine of Storms.
Can I, before we move into the Shrine of Storms, something we keep forgetting to talk about is what we do with the Archdemon souls. Oh yeah. So with the old monk soul, I just wanted to point this out. So you can get the Insanity Catalyst, which is it's similar to the Tin Crystallization Catalyst in Dark Souls. But I was just looking through it and found its description, and it has the line, "If you have no dreams for the future, you may want to place your trust in the power of the Golden Garb." which this whole area, everything about that, and a lot of things about Demon's Souls sound like Rush lyrics to me. Mm-hmm. And that is no exception.
Yeah.
If you have no hope for the future.
Yeah, and a bunch of the areas look like Rush album covers too.
Yeah,
like this is straight out of Hemispheres. So
yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
You stumbled onto a FromSoft dark secret.
That they're prog rock fans.
Yeah. There's just an interview where it's all Japanese with a translation. Every once in a while, you just hear 2112, and then more Japanese speech.
Thomas Sawyer.
Yeah.
Well, isn't the old monk technically the Crimson King if you think about it?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
There you go.
Are we
breaking news?
Are we assembling? Do I need to add you to the roster for the Dark Tower appendix?
There's the Crimson King, who is also a King Crimson character as well. So
true.
Is it a Dark Tower or a King Prog Rock?
It could be both.
Dun.
So
But yeah, and then you can make some pretty useful spells.
Yeah, I remember we talked about the homing
yeah.
soul last time as well.
I mostly just wanted to read excuse to read that thing.
Yeah.
So anywho,
but yeah, the Shrine of Storms. I really, really love this area.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite area in the game. Like, I just like the style of it, the enemies, everything about it is so cool.
Yeah. Love the tone, like the color palette, and just I love the play. It feels real tough but fair. Like these are the most aggressive enemies you're gonna find, right?
Well, yeah, like when everyone first enters the Shrine of Storms, like it's so like confronting. Just have this skeleton like come at you, like rolling at you, so aggressively.
Yeah, like clearly where they got the kind of bone wheels from, but they're like Transformer bone wheels. Yeah, and it's like when you talk about just kind of the generalities of the area, like I really like where this fits. Like we've talked about this before, but I love how different the areas are in Demon Souls, and the idea of this kind of this place that's a site of ancient rituals of this society that kind of worship the dead. Again, like just not to overuse the phrase "metal as fuck," but like it's real metal as fuck.
Can you?
Yeah, I don't think you can. Like when the shoe.
Yeah, you've got like
fits.
Grim Reapers and stuff all around. It's pretty metal, man. Like
Yeah. This is very. And the shoe rocks.
Yeah, but like this is where they would take the dead to sacrifice them to the winds. Like how great! I don't know. Yeah. Like a place of a horrible ritual, and now they're like the demons are harvesting the souls that lay dormant here. Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So you're running that skeleton, that first skeleton, which like these guys, this is a real popular area when I'm playing the game to do early runs because you can get a couple of very good weapons pretty early on, and they are really tough. Like they attempt to flank you. They hit really hard. If you come here, fairly soon out the gate. They're likely to kind of slay you, and there are a lot of them, and they are arranged in such a way, especially on this kind of first walk up, to cover each other.
Right.
So when you're dealing,
it reminds me of a little bit of Boletaria, where it's like a castle set against you, with like the big portcullis and everything. Like it's very much designed to make your life a living hell.
Yeah, but it's interesting because it's a castle that's already fallen.
Yeah. This is ancient. This doesn't give me the impression that this is where people live, and even the enemies lend themselves to that because they're not active until you get close enough, and then they animate.
Yeah.
These are piles of bones.
Yeah.
And it's important to know in this first kind of area before you go through the first kind of archway is that Satsuki is up there.
Yeah.
But he won't talk to you until pure white tendency. I never noticed him until I went looking for him, that he's there all the time. Just kind of
looking down on you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't reach him. I've tried to.
You can't I haven't tried it. So you can't hit him with an arrow or anything like that.
You can hit him with an arrow. He'll run behind some cover though.
I'm not ready for you yet.
Yeah.
Go do some good deeds.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that he doesn't like mention that when you see him in White World Tendency. Like some
what
arsehole
was
was
that
shooting at me
about?
when I was waiting up here.
Yeah. What? A lot of nerve.
You think it's the skeletons you have to worry about, but I don't know, man. It's the other people.
Frank Fontaine is playing the role of Sansuki. Yeah. The only way you're going to make up for it is giving me a cursed sword. So.
Can we talk about Satsuki a little bit? Like, since it seems pretty good. I love that he asks you for the sword, and no matter what you do, he attempts to kill you with it.
Well, Jake, that's your most recent video.
Yeah.
Was on Satsuki and the sword
At the time of recording.
At the time. Yes, at the time. Do you want to give us kind of like tell us about Satsuki?
I've purged all that information from my mind after I put the video up. Satsuki, he's from a distant land, and he's apparently looking for his father's sword, a keepsake, the Makoto, which is a cursed blade which drains the life of the wielder as they use it.
Yeah, and there's not much to it other than the fact that he is not like an honorable. Like I feel like the only other thing you can really surmise is that he is not after it for good reasons, given the fact that he will murder you regardless.
He's kind of similar to the area in that he's very isolated from everyone else. Like every other character you can kind of feel like there's some sort of connection. Like, Ostrava's obviously connected to Bior and the king and all that, whereas Satsuki's just some guy.
Yeah, he's out on his own, questing after this thing, and just decided to wait for people to come do this work for him.
Yeah,
because of skeletons. So
yeah. Fuck around with these well, yeah, you gonna go like by yourself?
Gonna go by yourself? My sword doesn't have a handle, you guys. Come on. So some asshole with an arrow came and took my sword handle.
And shot me a bunch.
Yeah.
Poor Satsuki.
Oh man, he's just misunderstood. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I just his closest analog in Dark Souls is Shiva of the East. And apparently, I mean, we went over this in the Dark Souls stuff, but Shiva was supposed to more closely mirror/resemble Satsuki, kind of like in the way that Lautrec resembles Yurt.
Yeah, that cut quest in the Painted World.
Yeah,
that kind of result.
Well, if you've seen my video, I actually stole entire portions of Vanny Video's Shiva of the East video.
Oh yeah.
To, kind of drive home the point that they are a very, very similar character.
Yeah.
Well, and also that it's maybe about, there is kind of there's arguably a tenuous connection between these worlds, and the idea of it just being the sword that has this legacy.
Yeah, well, they're
really
even
cool.
named the same thing.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I mean, just and noticing these similarities right now just has me looking forward in time to Dark Souls 2, and just wondering if they're going to continue having these archetypes or these things that just keep kind of popping up, by way of familiarity or nostalgia or what.
I hope so.
Me too.
I really want to experience that now that I have the context of the previous games in the series.
Well, I'm not sure if you want to include this in the episode because it's very much spoiler territories, but I have seen the text dump for Dark Souls 2, the beta, and there are some similarities that I think will surprise you.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah, I slept through the beta, so yeah.
I couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Well, the beta the
no
beta didn't work, so
because it's you had to wait around for 3 hours only to find out that they weren't letting Americans or Europeans into the beta.
Yeah. Dark Souls.
You didn't miss much.
Man. Oh well.
There'll be other betas, and we're rapidly approaching March. There'll be a joy in touching it fresh too.
True.
So I've resigned myself to that. I'm eager but relaxed.
Yeah.
So you start going up these stairs, and they're archers. Like I said, they cover each other. You get this defensible position. One of the noteworthy things that you find outside of the gate here is a talisman of God, and the idea that this is definitely the site of some kind of Inquisition or a missionaries. Because we find Saint Urbain later in the level, and he's here for some reason, and that's what I always thought of this as. They're for some reason either priests are trying to kind of stomp out the heretics here, and that is why you find so many kind of religious aspects, the way that the different the world spokes have different kind of theming, and this being the miracle themed one loosely. What do you guys think of that?
Well, yeah, I always took away something sort of like that because every church member you see seems to be on some sort of pilgrimage, Estrella obviously later in the valley, and I don't necessarily know why Urbain went to this island in the middle of nowhere full of dead people. It seems odd, but it may very well be another pilgrimage. There may be some spiritual significance, or it's very mysterious that there's just talismans left around and this sort of thing, because you assume he went alone. I don't think any of his followers mention him going with anyone.
Right.
Yeah, they definitely talk about him just kind of going by. I don't think anyone specifically says alone, because that's what I was thinking of for the Talisman of God.
Actually, I think
that movie came from.
I think one of the acolyte of God mentions he abandoned him or something.
Yeah.
I don't have my show notes. Oh,
well. I don't know why he's here, and it seems like it's one of those weird things that if I were to find him here, that'd be the first thing I would ask him. Why are you here? How'd you get here?
Yeah, it's a weird place to be.
Yeah, fancy meeting you here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I presume.
I don't know that I agree that they're coming out to like squash like heresy, like act like an active, like pagan cult or whatever. I think that this is just like a really upset place with a lot of restless souls, and maybe it's like a pilgrimage to try and cleanse or purge it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be something like that.
Yeah.
Like just the idea though that I don't feel like the talent, like the religious artifacts you find here are native.
Right.
So this is something that the whatever the church, like the organization of the church in Demon Souls, has an interest in this place, and it is here for some reason, but I do not know what it is.
Yeah. Let's see here. The Acolyte of God says, "I swore allegiance to Saint Urbane, but was of no use to him, and now I have run away and abandoned his honorableness." So they probably came here, and then he just up and done left.
Skeletons.
Yeah. Holy fuck, skeletons.
See you boners at the Nexus.
Yeah, just driving away on his jet ski. Yeah, with Order Bane back, the magicians will have to watch themselves. Okay, sorry. But yeah, so that's how things happened. He forsake his master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sense.
Yeah. It says something about left him in a trap as well. So,
This is really close to that trap.
Mm-hmm.
That's just inside the or like several traps.
Yeah.
Just inside
this place
this
is
little...
It's like Trap Central. I mean, this is the closest analog that we have to like Sens in that regard.
It's like Sens with bone wheels.
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
God.
True hell.
You understand that by saying that out loud, somebody's going to mod it in, right?
Yeah, I hope so. At this point, all I want are difficulty mods for Dark Souls and Demon Souls. Like, I'm sick. It is what I need. Yeah, so and for a religious kind of thing, so that was another thing I was trying to kind of figure out. So if this is the island, if the idea is that people go here to kind of prove themselves, there's all this kind of language of testing. Is it similar that directly to Sens, where part of the kind of proof to be like a hero of the storms or to be accepted into whatever this religion is that you have to make it past these traps?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it just to make it, more defensible position because they also have the archers kind of posted up by the Cornelians?
Yeah, I wonder, because they say that, like, the heroes are kind of already heroes, I assume. The ones they kind of offer up to the gods. So, like, is it just like, are you really a hero, or are they... I have no idea.
Are you a hero? Are you a hero?
It could just be like Patches has gone through and just decided to make, this is a huge pain in the ass for you.
Yeah, and he's just gonna go sell your stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. D-bag. Yeah, and that's what and then they also could be, since this is kind of has a grave element. This is where people inter the dead. It could also be to trap grave robbers, which is exactly what it does. Because grave robber Bilge gets caught by that pit.
Blige.
Yes.
Yes, he is holding ships upright. Oh wait, that's ballast. Fuck.
Yes. Bilge is water.
Ah, yes.
It's like slimy, gross water.
There is bilge water. Yes.
Water.
Although I think Grave Robber Blige directly states that he was trapped by Patches. Like, he's got it out for Patches. If you speak to him. Yeah.
Yeah, most of his dialogue is just about how much of like a bastard Patches is.
Yeah, like if you see him, just kill him on sight because you'll be better off.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
He'd sell his own mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His mother, the bigger lava bug. Previously established.
Yep.
Sell her for reagents to an Ultima Online player. This could just be, Patches did it to him. So maybe that has to do with the traps.
Yeah,
makes sense.
But I could see that. I mean, just traps and ruins as a thing going back at least to pulp novels, if not Egyptians with their spooky pyramid curses or whatnot. So
yeah,
and it's kind of like Boletaria again. Like Boletarian Palace is probably the only other part in the game that has like what is close to traps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, defensive,
with the rolling boulders and that sort of thing.
Yeah, a place made for defense.
Yeah.
Mm. So yeah.
Yeah. But you begin working your way in. Once you get past this front gate, you see an old friend off in the distance, the Vanguard demon. And by old friend, I mean somebody who once turned you into a fine pink paste against a wall. Yeah.
Who surprisingly can do the same thing again.
Yeah.
Not that he's not a tough boss, but he still hits so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I came back just now to play, before the show, and I'm level 51, and he's still, one shot would bring me down to about 5% of my health, like blocking it.
Yeah,
like he hits so hard. He's not that difficult, but it just,
Yeah, I don't think I've ever taken him out without dying myself. Like it always takes at least 2 tries.
Unless you want to do range, and then he just doesn't care.
Well, yeah.
Like you can stand back and just shoot him with arrows, and he do not mind.
Yeah.
And it gets even more difficult when you've got the stingrays taking pot shots at you.
Oh, yeah.
And the stingrays are like an omnipresent just annoyance throughout the entire level.
Yeah.
When I first saw them, I thought that they were like decoration.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize they were going to be aggressive to me, and yeah.
Until you heard the boom, 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 or whatever that sound is.
That sound is so good. And the way it always skewers you completely, like they're so huge. Like I love it so much. And those one of my favorite enemy designs. Like I've said it a couple times on the show, but I want more flying enemies in Dark Souls too. Because these work so well. Like if you don't have ranged combat, you're pretty fucked. And if you don't have a thieves ring, you're definitely fucked. Later on in the level.
Yeah.
But you can get those things by now. You can equip yourself to face this enemy, and then they just become like this harrowing kind of thing that you have to be aware of in your periphery at all times. And later, even in this level, it becomes really tense and thrilling, like going down that walkway that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, they're pretty charitable. They do give you a bow. It just depends on you having the stats to use it, and then also depending you have the patience to kill one of those things with a crappy bow.
Yeah, you either have to lead them like manually, and it's difficult to time it, or they have to be lining up to take their shot.
Right.
So most of the time, I would loose a bow, and they'd already take off their shot. So like loose an arrow rather, and then roll, and that's how I deal with these guys.
Yeah, but they make this place look like a big trapper keeper, a little bit. Yes, space manas. Yeah.
Yep. I'm always going to enjoy something that looks like it swims through the air.
Oh yeah,
like that's always going to look haunting and wrong to me.
Like a Chinese dragon.
Yeah. It's going to unnerve me on a real, on kind of a level.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can work your way into the kind of the front gates, the parapets there, and find your way around. There are some more traps. But this is where kind of the geography of this level gets a little bit confusing for me, like especially with the sequence of my notes. So some of this is out of line. Forgive me. But yeah,
like this is very much a non-linear level compared to the rest of the game.
Yeah. Like if you take out the Vanguard or don't just run past it, or just run past it rather, you can run like just right through the level. So most of this stuff here with Sparkly and Gravehopper Blige, they it's pretty much optional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always the way I would
like different items.
Yeah. It's always the way I would take is kind of going through the underground passage.
Yeah.
Down here, mostly because the first time I came up, I didn't want to fight the demon.
Right.
So the Vanguard. We should talk about. So if you double back, Howard. So we should talk about getting the enchanted falchion and the crescent falchion and this first black skeleton you fight.
Yeah, the double Uchigatana motherfucker. Yeah. These things will tear you apart.
Yeah, especially again if you're making a run up here, you just have to be good. Know how to dodge them.
Yeah.
At this point, and then it's just that jumping double slash just hits so hard.
Yeah, it's hard to get around the side of them too, in order to like actually take advantage.
Specifically here.
Yeah.
Well, it's just such a narrow area.
Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere you fight them is like incredibly narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the easiest one to fight, I think, is the one right before the boss. Every other one, other than that point, is pretty precarious. But you can get the enchanted falchion here, which is this is a good thing to get before you actually do Stonefang at all.
Right.
It'll help you out quite a bit there. But you just kind of have to know where to look. And it's counterintuitive since you have to double back for it.
Yeah. But this...
Well, you can see it at the start of the level.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I forgot about that. It's on there on the left.
So it's one of those things. If you pay attention and you're brave enough, the game will reward you for it.
Yeah, it will reward you handsomely because this thing does break the game. Like,
I think I used it for my entire first playthrough.
Yeah.
I
mean, there's nothing wrong with using it. It's not really, exploitation if it just hands it to you, right?
Well, you can get the Gravelord sword in Dark Souls in 7 minutes.
Right.
Like you can knowing where to get
or
a
the
really
Drake sword.
Yeah, or exactly, or get the Drake sword really quickly. Like knowing how to do it is it almost functions as a nod to how the game is going to be replayed. A bunch of times. Like I'll sometimes get one of those very powerful weapons, even if I'm going to do a different build. So like right now, my Demon Souls character, I'm doing a quality halberd because I never really fought with a halberd before. I wanted to try it out, and but I always go get this, or I go get the Blessed Mace just to get me so I can start getting stones and get through Stonefang.
Yeah.
So it kind of just helps you get through that first part. The first time I went through the game, I didn't find it until it felt kind of appropriate.
Right.
Like this is very strong, but I'm also pretty far into the game.
Yeah. It's very good for this level too, because these skeletons, they have pretty high damage resistance, and an enchanted weapon will do well for you. Yeah,
and it's quick, and you need to be quick because they, if you hit them once, you often can't stun lock them.
Right.
They can will start strafing you, rolling you.
Yep.
Yeah, or they'll roll away and then roll back into you.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
You got no chance to hit them then.
Oh,
yep.
and like the bone wheels, you'll take damage from their roll, so their dodge is also a weapon.
Yeah, not nearly as much.
Well, yeah.
Like these guys are hard, but they're easier than bone wheels.
Yeah, they don't chew through your stamina like the bone wheels do.
Fucking stone
Stone wheels.
The stone wheel skeletons. So you kind of go if you're heading back the other way, you kind of go through this underground passage here where it has the trap with the 2 rolling skeletons on either side at the end of that L-shaped hallway there, or that T intersection, which I love.
Yep.
Like that's always that definitely got me. Like I walk through these things cautiously because I played Souls games before, but I was not expecting the 2 of them, so I peeked my head around and then got stabbed in the back real good. So
yeah, you have to appreciate a well set up ambush. I mean,
yeah.
One thing I also love is the entrance to this underground passage, because it's like it's something that really takes advantage of the messaging system in the game.
Oh yeah.
Like otherwise it's just a wall. Like you have no idea what it is.
Yeah, and it's what is this the only illusory wall?
No, there's some in Stonefang.
Yeah, there's a couple even in this level.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's certainly the first real encounter, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It doesn't happen very often, whereas it's relatively frequent in Dark Souls.
Yeah, just because of the nature of the maps.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you're walking around in these walls, not only can you go upwards to get the copper key to unlock Blige, and also you can find Sparkly up there and do the trades. I never have done anything with Sparkly because she doesn't give you anything that I see as being really like indispensable or utterly necessary for it.
There's a couple of good items. Like you can get some colorless demon souls.
Yeah.
Which are very useful if you're using like boss weapons and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and
if you're a huge asshole and you don't want to give Stockpile Thomas his daughter's hair ornament back, he'll give you Sparkly will give you a regenerator's ring for it,
which you can find like 2 feet from here.
yeah. So it's very much like a makes you feel even worse.
I just say he can go show it to Stockpile Thomas, and then when he's like, "Oh, that'll be useful," I guess I can see why you need that, to fight demons. And then you can swallow it and pull out your backup, and just shrug. And
now my poop got a ring, and then just walk away. That's gross.
Yeah, I didn't really use him either. There is kind of a weird bird thing going on in this culture.
Yeah.
In general with the Adjudicator, and I really I'm not clear on where Sparkly fits in that.
Yeah, well, I always thought it was something to do with the wind, I guess, motif of the whole area.
Yeah,
but because not just the Adjudicator, but the arrows you find are fletched from the birds that circle around that tree where Sparkly is.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of weird stuff like that. On the Adjudicator shield, obviously has a lot of bird theming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll talk about this when we get there, but the Adjudicator might not be the big fat guy. I think it's the gold crow that stands on top of him.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I dig a bird culture. I'd move there.
There's two things that this place likes: is dead people and birds.
Yeah,
skeletons and birds.
Skeleton birds. Sign me
like
up.
Colvania. Like,
yeah. So
I'm surprised they didn't take like a vulture sort of thing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's something they could have like reached for, but they didn't really do.
I guess crows are kind of carrion birds. They're scavengers, right?
Yeah. Definitely scavenger birds. I'm kind of
glad Grave Robber Blige is a scavenger, so
yeah.
It's a lot of that sort of theme, I guess.
I'm glad they didn't do vultures because vultures are gross. Like, I think it's one of the most disgusting animals. Like if you scare them, they vomit on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I think that would have been a great addition to the game.
Yeah,
I mean, it suits perfectly with the Vanguard, having these birds like vomiting all around you.
That was the original draft of the manta rays.
They kept the sound the same.
Yeah, it's just the big the same big spears of vomit though.
It just comes out of their throat. They're just regurgitating these bones.
How did you vomit something longer than you?
Sword swallowing.
True.
It's exactly as long as them.
Oh man, but yeah, you can work your way down and you find Grave Robber Blige. We talked about him a little bit with his let's say mixed history with Patches, but I like how he alludes to the fact that he comes from a long line of grave robbers.
Yeah.
And he's so proud of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grave Robber is actually his first name.
Yep.
And it's they just name you after your profession.
Yeah.
And their family line gets named after their profession.
Don't call me Mr. Grave Robber.
Yeah, that was my father's name.
Yeah. I realized that I am ripping off your toot from earlier today about Mr. Mime.
A Mr. Mime joke.
Yeah, I have another terrible T-shirt idea.
Oh, what? Okay, what is that?
Mr. Meme. It's Mr. Mime's body with a rage comic face on it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the terrible people would wear that stupid shirt.
Yeah.
We're eventually going to have to explain this terrible T-shirt thing in every podcast.
I suppose.
But we're still, if we're going to just keep coming up with them. So Jake, we came up with, and just real briefly, because we talked about it in another show, we just keep throwing, there's certain T-shirts that I really hate, and we really hate, and we're coming up with terrible, just internet just mashing two things together, shitty, $5 T-shirt company T-shirts for us to eventually, if we never make a living off of, our art, let's start this T-shirt company and just loathe every one of our customers for buying these terrible shirts.
Yeah.
So
stuff like Thwomp, there it is.
Yeah, it's really that level of discourse we're working for.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure they'd sell well to people with absolutely no taste.
Exactly. People will just wear any shirt.
Yeah.
Just set up a ramshackle table outside of PAX.
Or we get one of the PAX sponsors, we get some computer company or Razor Mice to sponsor it. On the back of it just has a Razor Mice logo, and then we give them out for free. Mm-hmm. And then the next day at PAX, everyone will be wearing them because free.
Yeah. Man, gross. So yeah, Mr. Meme. There we go. But yeah, Grave Robber Blige also gives you most of the lore for the area. He is really the only sentient person here aside from Urbane and Patches. But yeah, he tells you about the rituals and whatnot, and just that the demons have gravitated here because there's a whole lot of unused soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the most common drops is soul remains.
Yeah,
which you can't consume for a soul, but are a thing that is part of a soul, not used.
Yeah. I always wondered if they were what's left over after. Yeah, because the souls have obviously left the body of the skeletons.
Yeah, or if they're just eroded or diminished from having been around for a while.
Yeah. It would have been an unknown soldier's soul or what have you, and then or I guess an unknown hero, and then you would have exactly, they just kind of degrade into soul remains. Have you guys spent any time using those things?
I just now actually figured out what they do.
They're very useful.
Yeah, they're very useful.
Can you explain the use because I think that they're really obscure.
It's very similar to the alluring skulls.
Okay.
From Dark Souls, so they just attract monsters, and they're very.
So
I've only
just, throw them off the edge of a cliff, and they'll follow them.
Yeah, I mean the game again in that weird way that the Souls games are actually very user friendly and easy in some ways. You get tons of them, and then you have to do that cliffside gauntlet, and if you can just throw these things off to the side, you can get through it without doing any fights.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if have you guys tried using it in 5.2 to get the giant depraved ones out of your way? Or
I have not. I don't know if they're useful for everything. I don't usually get quite that many of them. I never farm them because I don't farm things. If I can help it.
Yeah, I pretty much always spend a lot of time here just because you get not a lot of time, but like more time than usual, especially early on, just because this is really the only place that you can kill things for a large amount of souls. Like, for demon souls, these guys are pretty valuable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the whole area has such a good return on souls. Like, it's weird and completely disconnected to every other area in the game, which is so low.
Mm-hmm. 4-2 is the best farming spot in like either game.
Yeah.
Like the beginning of 4-2,
right next to the Arkstone.
Exactly. It's just
pit of slugs.
Yeah, and like even 4-3 is like ridiculously good.
Yeah. Just if you want to level up, this is where you do it. Mm-hmm. We're going to prepare you for the Valley of Defilement, one way or another. And then you get there and you get poisoned and you can't roll, and you still get one shot by things. Take that.
It was all for
or you get plague. Yeah, no matter what level you are. Yeah. So in either way, you get kind of the end. You either come up through this little broken down tunnel, kind of collapsed tunnel, or you get past the Vanguard, and you're kind of into the back half of the level. Mostly of note here is that there is a black katana skeleton guarding the Adjudicator's shield, which we talked about. And speaking of the Valley of Defilement, again, the way the game sets you up for success later, is a really good shield. It's pretty crap as a shield, but it does the job. And the biggest thing is it has regeneration and regeneration stacks in this game. So you can counteract the effect of poison completely.
Right.
With this and it gives you so many regenerative items, like the rings in this level, the shield.
Yep, the spell comes from the Adjudicator.
Yeah, from the Adjudicator spell.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Kind of playing into the notion of avarice, right? At least with the spell and also the shield.
Yeah, and the meat cleaver.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
you get from that. So there's definitely theming there. Like there's this kind of inherent base level of theming of like worship of the dead and worship of the sky, and then the demon specific kind of corruption that came around is one of greed. Which makes sense if they're just going to park them in front of a soul smorgasbord.
Yeah. So, or also dead
my
people
favorite collective soul album. They're like Jim Blossoms.
Yeah, it was their greatest hits collection.
Mantles, let your tail swing down.
Also, this is dead people tend to have a lot of riches on them too. People like to be buried with their expensive shit.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Urbane's here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. To plunder for the church.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Well, there is the interpretation, and we'll get to it a little bit later, but the whole idea of the church being more or less kind of fools and not worshiping who they think they are worshiping.
Which comes definitely from the theme of like
with the talisman of beasts
might not be true.
Yeah, with the talisman of beast looking like the old one, and that being the form of which and stuff. And I don't go in for all of that, but it seems like a valid interpretation that maybe they're drawn to do this and they don't even know why. Like they're not intending to. Mm-hmm. But the fact that they're secretly worshiping the old one means that they're here for riches.
And there's a parallel between Latria and this place, if that is the case, because both of them are areas that are meant to funnel people to their deaths in order to get easy souls off of them.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you do subscribe to the idea that this is like a trap for the church or the old one acting through the church or whatever, then this is a series, an ever escalating series of traps in order to just like funnel as many devout people as possible.
Right. And then the question becomes if there was a point in history in which this was actually like kind of a pure pagan religion that's been corrupted, or if it has always been like that.
Right.
Well, one interesting thing about the demons here is like most of the demons tend to be like something else that has been kind of turned into a demon. Like in Boletaria, you've obviously got the Phalanx and the the Knights of Boletaria, whereas in this, it seems to be more like the things that they worshipped have become demons.
Oh yeah.
So like the ideas, nearly it's really odd, and like out of connection with the rest of the game.
Like ideas and concepts and such. So like the idea of this kind of judgment, is personified.
Yeah, the idea of this soldier.
Because we'll get to that in the next episode. But like how you don't, it's not actually the old hero you're fighting. Like. It's this weird, kind of force ghost of him. So yeah, very cool. Like it's a nice like I like these areas that don't fill in the blanks, but they give you like 70% to work with, and you can just kind of put in just enough caulk to make it fit into an idea.
Yeah,
and it's probably why it's my favorite area. Like it's just like it just gives you like just enough that you can kind of draw your own conclusions.
And by a cursory glance, like it doesn't seem to have an awful lot going for it.
Yeah,
right?
it's all hidden in a real satisfying kind of way.
Yeah.
There, whereas
it doesn't even have as many NPCs as like other areas do that would normally explain that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like whereas Latria I really like because it is a complete story. I like this because it's not quite a complete story. So yeah, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
In either case, you come out on this. You're on this kind of cliffside run at this point, where if you don't have the Thieves' Ring, I don't know how you I haven't gotten through this without it. Because you need to have that lowered aggro range of the mantas because you're traversing past these gold skeletons, which are real similar to the boss that's in the intro movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is the boss that's in the intro movie.
Yeah. Is it like a giant version of one? Are these things?
Yeah,
so it's cool to have them have an appearance.
Yeah.
But
I did this without the Thieves' Ring my first run through, like before I realized how valuable the Thieves' Ring was. You can do it. That was also my royal run, so I had the spell power to take out whichever of them I was able to.
Yeah, and
well, that's no achievement then.
Yeah, exactly. Like nothing,
Nothing you do as a royal counts.
Yeah,
it's like Rumspringa for Demon Souls.
Yep, I just did a bunch of meth and then shot some mantas out of the sky.
Yeah, but it doesn't count.
Turns out meth a huge problem among the Amish on Rumspringa.
Yeah.
And then they take it back to the communities.
Yeah, it's a shame that it's like so monstrously addictive. So
yeah. So, but yeah, hence why I disclaimed my achievement like immediately. Just like so, yeah.
I was a royal.
Yeah, but yeah, I love this run though. Like it's so nice and tricky, right?
Yeah,
and it sets you up for the run in 4-2.
It's
like a million times harder.
Yeah, 4-2 is so tough.
You feel so good about conquering that one, and then like, oh god.
Yeah, and this one at least has the common decency to have a reasonable shortcut. Because we didn't talk about it, but there's a shortcut. Right, the tower that's above Grave Robber Blige, where you can do through some tricky rolling, skip right to the end of the level.
I wonder if I don't think it's intentional, but like it's certainly a useful thing to know about.
Yeah, I believe it's not intentional because it proves that fog gates are one way. Yeah,
you can't go back through floodgates.
If you do it, if you try and go through the back of the one that's by that run, you're not going to be able to. So,
yeah. It's hard to say if it's worth taking though, because you miss out on like so much good stuff.
Yeah. It's essentially just if you've been bashing your head up against the adjudicator for some reason.
It's weird because like it's an unintentional skip, but it kind of still reinforces the theme of the game. Like if you take this challenge, then you will be rewarded for it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but you make this run and you get around to kind of this little preamble area, which doesn't have an awful lot going for it aside from just a couple of items you can get. The Regenerator's Ring, Grave Robber's Ring, blah.
Yeah. One final trap and Black Samurai Skeleton before the Adjudicator, which... the Adjudicator, which I really like.
Yeah.
I love this boss.
Yeah.
There's like 3 tiers that you can fight it on, and each one has a different attack pattern. It's really cool design.
It's such a good arena. And this was the first time I saw the real Demon Souls starts here message, and I thought I was really in for some shit. And I played through the first time as a royal, so it doesn't count as any kind of accomplishment. And he was really easy, but he's a lot of fun because there are these different ways you can kind of take him out. I also really like the music for him.
Oh yeah,
this kind of sickening horns and like wheezy lumbering. Like the music is just kind of
like laughs in time with it.
Yeah, yeah. Or is it him or is it the bird that's laughing at that point?
There you go.
I mean,
his tongue is always
his tongue is always lolling.
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, it just looks so monstrous. Like he doesn't so much have a mouth or a head as like a gaping maw
hole.
Yeah. Just like at the top of his what I assume is a head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like going with that greed theme.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he is. He's also like again, it's just one of these bosses where there's a lot of kind of indirect storytelling to the design of him too, because so you work your way down, and like I love Demon Souls boss rooms where you're not immediately in danger and you kind of have a lot of room to work with. Make your way around the periphery of this room to find where you want to fight him, to get down to the ground, like dodging this giant tongue, and you find that he has stabbed himself in the side or fallen on his blade.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's carrying one one bladeless arm, and then also has his side has this huge gaping cut in it. Mm-hmm. And you comically bounce off him. Like he kind of looks, when you're close to him, he looks like a moon bounce room.
Yeah,
like one of those bounce houses.
What he reminds me of with all of the jewelry and kind of like the gold skin is that episode of The Simpsons where Homer is like a gigantic gold-plated man with like jewels in his face and stuff.
Yeah.
When he's imagining what he would do with $1 million.
Yeah.
Going around bossing people around. Yeah.
It's more, that's very accurate.
Yeah.
To him.
But yeah, you bounce off of him, and he really only has two weak areas. Either this meat cleaver that is hanging out of his gut, or the bird's nest on the top of his head. And until I read the description for the Adjudicator shield, I thought that the bird's nest was just like this quirky little design element.
Yeah,
But I mean, if you look at the shield, like there is pretty good reason to believe that this is just like the demon is the bird, and this big fat guy is just somebody that he's punishing forever.
It's like a parasite, like the golden robe, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the shield says something along the lines of like eating birds is not something that is like befitting a hero. So the gold crow decided to punish him forever, and it's the gold crow that is the one that is passing down the judgment.
Yeah. Yep. Which is actually the Adjudicator, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. And if the idea that you have to, it's pretty comical actually. If the idea is that you go through to be judged as a hero, and the criteria is whether you eat birds.
Yeah,
and a bird is the one doing the judgment. They are a single issue species.
Yep,
they care about one thing to define a hero.
Well, think about how we treat cannibals. Not cannibals, but we treat anything that eats one of us.
That is true.
Yeah.
We haven't exterminated the bee yet.
Yeah.
And they will. Have you ever seen the Tim and Eric episode Crows?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this reminds you of. Like, you have been unkind to the birds.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
Cowardly acts in the eating of birds must not be deeds of heroes of Storm. Of being judged displeases the Adjudicator's master. If the one being judged rather displeases the Adjudicator's master, the golden crow, the deceased soul, will be gnawed upon until nothing but their bones remain. Yeah. So, yeah, the skeletons are probably the ones who came up wanting.
Oh yeah, that's what I assumed.
Yeah,
they're discarded heroes. This does imply that the Adjudicator is not the crow. The crow is the Adjudicator's master, but you also can see that it's possible that since he definitely has some kind of mind control, he inhabits the brain. The actual Adjudicator could be more of like a Master Blaster situation. He can ride different people, and then
yeah. No, I'm looking at this shield itself on the wiki, and I love the design on the front of it. But yeah, either way, it's cool as hell. It's a gold bird on top of a fat guy.
It almost, if you're looking at the shield now, does it look to you like just under his knife that he has the Adjudicator has the cut in his side?
Not particularly.
It looks like there's a little crease there that kind of looks a little bit like the cut to me, but I can see either way.
Maybe, but maybe not. It's definitely smaller in proportion to his body than the.
That's true.
Yeah,
the
actual meat cleaver. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
true. Which, according to the meat cleaver's description, his sword turns whatever he kills into delicious cuts of meat. So you get a nice tri-tip and a ribeye.
Well, maybe he was just hungry.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's only skeletons around. What else are you gonna eat?
Yeah, he's already picked all of them clean.
Yeah, flayed all the
reminds me a bit of Smo.
Yeah, like Smo crossed with the gaping dragon.
Mm-hmm.
This ever hungry demonic presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. He's not actually that hard.
No.
Either way, like, staying up near the top, shooting him in the bird is not too tough. And then sticking to his right, because that arm, he doesn't have a sword in that arm. So if you keep circling him, it's pretty difficult for him to hit you.
Yeah.
He's a lot like the Vanguard, where he's not that hard, but like one hit can kill you.
Yep. Yep. Which is why I'm glad there's that shortcut. Because even getting that shortcut became a pain in the ass. Like fighting those 6 skeletons or what have you, you have to on the way up there. Started trying my nerves after a couple times on my melee run. My Royal, I was able to kill him, the first try, but again, that's not an accomplishment.
Yeah, you with the Royal. Like, I think if you have the Thieves' Ring equipped, or maybe even if not, all you have to do is just stay by the fog door, and you can target him, but he can't hit you with his tongue.
Yeah.
You can just cheese him so easily.
Yeah, I think I feel like I have been hit by the tongue, but the attack he does that reaches that far, he doesn't do very often, or he has to be positioned correctly. I don't know that there's a safe place in the arena, like strictly 100% safe, that you can still hit him from.
Yeah. Like, so I fought him from above, I fought him from below. What's the mid tier? Like, is that just like a mixture of both, kind of? Like, is it you're just more prone to his, to his actual attack, or does he have a different moveset?
I've only done it a couple times, if I remember right. It's sort of like his top one, but in that he kind of destroys the floor, and like the danger is falling, whereas in this one it's like the tongue itself.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Makes
sense.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. And then you kill him. You get the let's talk about the souls when we get them, the boss souls, just so we don't forget. What's interesting too is that you can get the regeneration, like all of the things you can make from this guy's soul. Are tie into this avarice theme, except for the one the banish, or it's not the banishing one. One of the miracles you get from it specifically says it's like the counter sign.
Yeah, you only get to, so actually you really just get Regenerator and
Meat Cleaver.
And the Meat Cleaver.
Meat Cleaver. Is the regeneration one the counter? Yeah, the regeneration one is the counter sign to the pagan adjudicator that devours humans.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but yeah, like on this run, I did this whole stage much earlier than we're doing it in sequence, just so I could get here and do my Meat Cleaver build. That is such a fun weapon.
Yeah,
it's probably my favorite weapon in the game. Yeah. I adore it.
Yeah, it's double S scaling. Like what do you do?
Yeah,
and then it's got like an A scaling as well. It's
A scaling in Faith. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. It's like no matter what you do, it's the right decision.
And you can enchant it as well.
Yeah.
With like curse weapon. It's the most powerful weapon by far. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The run that I used with it, I was also the one I was dabbling in miracles before I learned that I was like a more or less a non-starter in this game, and so I had to have my faith high enough to use second chance. Was really the only miracle I ended up using, and that just makes you monstrous, like really good, good strength and dexterity, and then real decent faith for second chance, and you can one shot everything. But because I wasn't using a shield in that run, it became really about accuracy and just needing to one shot, one kill something, or being kind of out of luck.
Right. Yeah. But so next time we're going to be doing 4-2 and 4-3.
Let's real quick because we talked about White World Tendency with Satsuki. There's not too much to Black World Tendency. What's interesting though is that it's a lot harder because there are lots of Black Phantom skeletons.
Yeah, and they're pretty evenly distributed too.
Yeah.
When I first played this game, I played the Japanese import version of the game.
Oh well.
And there was a bug where every time you died, whether it was in soul form or in body form, the tendency would go down, unlike normally where it goes. So I died about 10 million times in 4-1, and this whole level is just a living hell for me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Do the points continue to accumulate after you hit pure black? Like, can you just get...
it just stays at pure black, like...
Yeah.
But, like, once you beat the Adjudicator, it goes up to 1 point above pure black. Congratulations.
And then there's a primordial demon somewhere, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a primordial demon, I think, in the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Black is that you fight the human version, or the Black Phantom version, rather, of Satsuki. And you can get the Hiltless, which is a weapon very similar to the one he's trying to get, at least in quality. Like, he likes weapons that hurt him.
Right.
Is what he's into. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a masochist, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
That's how you bring it all together.
Yep.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm looking at the description for the Mayoko, if that's how you pronounce it, and just the what it says it does to the victim, like it does cuts that never heal. That's super crazy. And also, again, 15th time this episode, metal as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big it's like a big tribute to the Muramasa's swords.
Oh, that's probably where I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's just like the whole like point of the sword is just completely like it can't be sheathed until it draws blood. That sort of metal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
one thing I love
sword.
about the hiltless is it's got like just a little bit of cloth wrapped around the hilt.
Yeah.
As if like that's gonna help.
That's something we never talked about in the Eternal Darkness episode, Gary. Just to take us into a brief little side step here. But all these people who think they can protect themselves from these awful artifacts by picking them up with a small piece of cloth. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the same way I grab a pan if I can't find an oven mitt and it doesn't work then either.
Yep.
Yeah.
The same way I open a door in a public bathroom. Like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't protect you. Now your shirt's just full of feces, Cole.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. You just get to wear that unless you do laundry after that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, immediately.
Well, yeah.
After every bathroom trip.
Oh,
you need a pocket washing machine. You need to push around a wheelchair with a washing machine and a mini dryer on it.
That's what a Tide stick is for.
There you go. There you go.
But just I noticed that too. I just have that small piece of cloth.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
That's and I'm happy it's a short level. Like, it was kind of a short episode. I'm happy with all the conjecture and stuff we did.
Yeah.
Though on this one, like, I feel like this was is fun and satisfying to kind of try to figure this area out.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it. Like, we actually cracked a couple nuts here, and I don't just I
think we said at the start, like it is an area that like kind of lends itself to just being talked about, despite seeming so empty.
Yeah. Good area. So just and then for next episode, we'll be continuing our discussion of the Shrine of Storms. For that episode, we'll be joined by Bob Mackey of the Retronauts podcast, and of various delightful bits of writing on the internet. So we're really looking forward to that and talking about those two boss fights, which I really, really love.
Yeah.
Well, so let's so by way of admin, Jake, plug it up.
Yes.
Plug.
I think on my Shrine of Storm, my Setsuki video or my Latria video, I think I did plug a lot of things. So I plug that video so that you can go see the things I plugged.
Yeah, it is.
I think I plugged you guys. So
we really appreciate that.
I hope many people watch that video. All of my videos are just like leaked from Ratty videos whenever he likes my videos. So it's not so much me you should thank.
A couple of people on Facebook did say that they found the podcast through that video.
Yeah.
Cool.
So which is great.
Yeah.
Really appreciate that. And then where you wanted people to follow you on Twitter or anything like that? Where can people find you?
I do have a Twitter. I think maybe I think Cole, do you follow my Twitter? I know I follow both of you, but
I'm very
I
bad
would not
at
recommend following it
Twitter.
because it is completely like inane and meaningless. Like I don't talk about anything.
You love Gundams.
I just post pictures of Gundams is basically all I do. So I would most certainly not recommend following me on Twitter.
So don't follow Jake on Twitter, but however, subscribe to his YouTube.
Yes.
Video game talking head at youtube.com.
Yes, excellent stuff. Me and Cole do some other shows. We do Watch Out for Fireballs, which is a retro video games podcast. Similar deep examination, not quite this zoomed in, but on a different game each time. At the time you're hearing this, the next one will be about Fallout 2.
Yeah.
It's a two-parter, and for a portion of it, we'll be joined by Chris Avalone. So I'm really excited about that. And we also do a show called Abject Suffering, which is a shorter show about bad games.
Yeah, listen to that. Subscribe to it, please.
Yeah, ostensibly about bad games. Like, it's mostly us just fucking around.
Yeah.
But we play a bad game beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, the bad games are a starting point.
Yes, it's like a 70s, touchy feely board game of just like a deck of conversation prompts for you and your family.
Yes,
and except the conversation prompt is like Mohawk and headphone jack. I don't know what I think about this, Mom. I go play Pong.
Yep. But Gary does a show called Pilot Season, which comes out every other week. It is a new concept every time. It is very funny and recently very scary and sad.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pitch as well is still in the process of wrapping up.
Cool.
So I still want people to listen to that show because that is it is funny and it's about innovation and it is a complete. It's going to be 50 episodes, a 50 episode run, and then that's it for the pitch. So.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I know I'm forgetting something.
Cool. Oh, and check it out, Comrade.
Oh yes,
will be coming out shortly after this comes out, which is an indie show with me and Nick Glauber. 2 indie games per episode, really short, just kind of, what's awesome about this game. Let's talk about it for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Got a future episode coming up with Kole. We're going to have other kind of guests from the network probably as the show continues. But, shows in their infancy definitely need support. Mm-hmm. And Kole does a show called The Level, which is excellent. It is a video game news magazine show covering games old and new. Varied that he does. Birth from a Radio show that he did in college is one of the longest running podcasts that I know of, let alone on the network.
Yeah.
And then a show called Those Damn Ross Kids.
Yes, which is on a prolonged hiatus. Anybody who's listening to this who's frustrated by that, I am very sorry, but there is real life stuff getting in the way. We are working on its return. So, yes.
Eventually it'll become a pro-littled hiatus, and then eventually become a pro-none hiatus. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But, in order to support this show, there's the usual stuff, iTunes, ratings, reviews, subscriptions. I feel like this is going a little bit long, so I won't bore you with stuff. There's the tip jar, if you're going to be buying anything on Amazon for Christmas or whatever holiday you choose to observe. We get a little cut of that, and it does not cost you anything extra. And that goes to support things like hosting the show and hosting the website, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then just as a final thing, if you another way to support, so I did an album in Mario Paint called the band is called Super Mario Lab. The album is called The Stoic Club. 50 songs between 30 seconds and a minute, and one song, or 49 songs, one song that's 10 minutes long, all done in Mario Paint Composer. It's $5. So Duckfeed.tv/store.
Yep,
that's where you can find that.
Yeah. So I think that's just about everything.
Yeah. So until next, I feel like, so you had the sign off for the show, Kole. I feel like the last 3 episodes I've been able to pull one of the things out of my ass at the last minute, but I might have run out.
Yeah, I might have run out too. So
it's been so long since I've been human.
Yeah.
So
the world might be mended.
Umbasa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jake, say Umbasa.
I don't believe in your petty gods, you fools.
Yeah. I'm going to go worship some bird dad.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon